library on my wall.
Right.
And I have been over the years trying to, give out books to certain people that I run into. And I gave him a whole stack of magazines. I gave him a couple of Toni Morrison books.
Oh, okay.
And he
Love
was
Toni Morrison.
so excited. But that book talks about a young man who's looking for his sister. And he's in another state. Who's taking care of a doctor. He died. But he goes back to when he was young and how they used to bet. Just like you have these boxing and wrestling matches and all that.
Monday.
They used to watch us fight each other. Father against son. Brother against brother. This was big business. That was entertainment. People would come from all different nearby counties.
Yes.
To watch this
6 p.m.
black people try to kill you. If you didn't kill him, they were going to kill you. So this is how we learn when people say, yeah, niggas don't help each other. This is what was planned for us. This is not something that just came up out of the blue. And that's what she wrote about in that book.
Okay. And I love Pan-Africanism. So I don't want to say that black people aren't doing anything. We're talking about the general, right? The masses of us aren't moving on one accord, right? But there's several of us doing amazing things. Growing food, building property, trying to understand how we can control our resources. But at the same time, the majority of the group is giving away our resources at a quicker rate, right? I think it's the bridge of the gap of saying, you know what? All right, cool. We dropped the ball, right? First, we got to give in to that. We can't be like, no, we didn't drop the ball. They threw away the ball, or they didn't give us balls to play with. Nah, we straight up dropped the ball by not taking responsibility, and we gotta take responsibility right now because we're still losing because our resources are being depleted quicker than we can maintain them. You know what I mean? Or even nourish them to become something big.
I know there's one thing. If we can stop buying designer stuff, like designer bags, and I mean,
is that the problem?
It's part of the problem how we spend our money.
We have the buying power because But if we have the buying power because there's more of us, there's more melanated people on this planet than any other race, right? So if all of us got $10, we have the buying power. I think luxury goods is what we cut from. If you see the kings in Africa, they draped in whatever garment that they want in abundance because that's naturally who we are, right? We're those type of beings that are flamboyant, flashy, right? I think making high quality goods is something we need to get into.
Yes.
It's not about not buying Gucci. We love high quality things, right? It's just we're not in the space to be creating those high quality goods. But we know Dapper Dan, once he get with them, he takes their brand to a bigger thing, right? So I don't take it like the company are bad or white people are bad or anything. No. It's us, yo. It's us not stepping up to the plate to say, yeah, I'm ready to bat. We're playing this game and we're gonna win. We're just playing the game, not ready to win. We're like, yeah, we in it, but I don't really want to win this game. You know what I mean? I don't want to take no losses. No losses.
I don't know. I'm kind of.
How can you get the business? I mean, I see what your point, but I too, I'm against designer crap and wearing their name and supporting them. I am against it, but how can we get more of us? How can we're not in the production that much. If I buy from black people just on sometimes just to be buying.
The Queen says, I see you back here. Yes.
Yeah, I gotta jump in.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Because I think we need to.
One way that I do not support other races without supporting my own first. So now, I can't tell you when I've been here in New York since 1967. And I bet I've been to Macy's 3 times.
Wow.
And that was because when I first came here, they told me that was the place to shop. But in thinking, I said, now I can go to Macy's and support the investors who have invested in Macy's, or I can invest my little bit of change with my own people. So I don't shop below 110th Street. I haven't done it since 1967.
Maybe the stores will come up here.
Now, that's the way we can get started.
Right.
You know, there are vendors all over Harlem.
Yes, indeed.
And another thing, when I go to a restaurant, I ask them, is this black owned? Because another way they're tricking us is to have
The black front. The black front. Yeah.
So that's how we can start
Mm-hmm.
to begin to support each other in our endeavors.
I agree.
Right now, we have to pay a little bit more for the same thing.
Yeah.
That's because we're getting started in on their business.
Yeah.
That they're making millions off of us on
Mm-hmm.
and have for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to address your thoughts about how they taught us to hate each other.
Mhm.
And it's still going on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
it
now
is.
it's now they got other group of people hating us because I live in Washington Heights, and if you say anything like call them black, they say no, I'm Dominican, and they skin be. I have a next door neighbor. Her husband is not as dark as you, but dark. Let me come out and say that he's black.
Because
Oh no, I'm Dominican, and I know their history, but I'm like saying any kind of blackness, they like our style, they like the way we
Why do
do
you
things.
think they
This
named
and
us
that.
Negro? Why do you think they named us Negro?
Negro.
Now, you know, I used to work in Washington Heights. I worked at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital for 22 years.
Let's comment, y'all.
And at that time, the neighborhood
very
was
interesting.
predominantly Puerto Rican. It was Latino. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The Latinos, when they filled out their application,
They put white.
they either put white or other.
Mhm.
Now, they have taught them that Negro is black. Black means anything negative.
Yes.
And who wants to be negative?
Right.
You know, so, you know, they tricked us in so many ways.
They did.
And-
They
and
did.
blown our
But not no
minds.
more. We ain't tricked no
We're
more.
waking up.
We-
We're waking up.
We're up, right? Because black is not negative. Black is the composition of everything on the earth,
Yeah.
right? That's the
You
magic.
gotta have black to be alive.
You have to have black to have white,
Yeah.
right? You can't get exactly. I was actually, you know what I was watching? I was watching Halloween last night, right? This Halloween, this version came out in 2007. In the movie, the doctor is doing an examination on the young Michael Myers, right? And he's like, how did he start the conversation? He was explaining to him different colors, and he was like, I just go and I see black, right? He was like, I black out. He was like, no, black is negative. Black doesn't exist. Black is not a color. You mean you white out. For real. And he was like, white is every color in the spectrum. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually the reversal, that black composes every color in the spectrum, and white is the extra, is the absence of color. You know? This is what they was teaching. You're right. They definitely tricked us, but they didn't trick all of us. Some of us maintained our moral position and kept our head on straight. You know? At this point, what do? We know we've been tricked, right? How do we heal people that are under that spell, or people that's just in the middle of neutral, that just don't know the history and don't know where to go? They just standing still.
We have to educate.
We have to educate. So I would say we have to be the teachers. right? We have to come back, and it's not about an age, or it's not about where you at in life. Whatever skill you have, just go and teach it.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I say something to you? Also have to remember sometimes that some people are in denial and they can't learn it until either they experience something like it or they're ready to learn it.
Yeah,
You can't force something on someone.
Right.
You have to let them get to a level, because some people ain't gonna never get to that level of their blackness. They're just gonna be in denial. Then there's other people that go through something and realize, I'm black. Let me learn about my blackness. And then there's people already that's like, I know my blackness, but I need to know more. So
I think we're
like,
setting the definitions for a lot of these terms or a lot of these ideologies. Meaning this are we saying everybody with this type of hue is black?
we're all black.
I'm asking you if this is what we have to define, right?
But
Because
see,
I think it's more of a thinking capacity, right? And you could be jet black, dark skin, you still thinking like a European. You're not black to me. You dig what? It's not about a color. It's about a way of thinking.
Yes,
You know?
it is about a way of thinking, but sometimes your way of thinking have to change when you go through an experience.
Absolutely.
Like for instance, when I went back to college,
Right.
to me it was just school. But during my experience, I'm like, no, this is something different. I'm on a different level than I was before I started. So it's like there was a lot of, I learned that I'm black. There's certain people that let me know that I was black. They let me know that this school was catered to these certain type of people, and they make me feel like I'm a guest here.
Right.
And that was what I learned about me being black. I'm thinking that everything is, black is black power, all that. But in some national things, it's gone.
What if somebody like me said, I'm not black, I'm Moorish, I'm African, I'm not black, I'm not Negro, I'm not a nigga, I'm not none of that, I'm not black. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But if I take it one level forward, the same person who gave you black is the same one oppressing us. I'm not black.
But then again, I'm about to say that they use to make, just like you just said the word Morris, I don't know what that means. So since you use that word, I don't know what that means. So I don't know. I figured it out. It means black. But when I'm saying they changing the lingo, they changing how things was.
I think we're bound by this language we don't understand.
Yeah, they changing everything. So since they changing the lingo, it's like it's hard to communicate with someone who is black. It's hard to communicate with a young person when they're talking a language that.
We speak the lingo.
Inside of slang.
Yes,
and then you got the games, and then you got the religion, and you got all these different languages going together. And then that one word that comes out through all this, you still black. So,
but that's Jesse Jackson who brought that up. I'm never jacking that black stuff, you know.
Can I say one thing?
I'm brown. You really look at
it might be miseducation, but there's a lot of people that's on that level of that. They in the mix, but there's a lot of things they don't understand.
Yes, but that's because people let other people define them.
Yes.
Like Tiger Woods, he never will say he's black.
Right.
He says he's he's Chinese,
indigenous,
right? Yeah. Like Halle Berry asked her mother, "What am I, black or white?" Her mother told her to look in the mirror. And whatever she sees,
we're not a crayon box,
and that's how they judge it. But you don't let people look at your
we come
race.
from tribes. What tribe you come from should define who you are. Right? If I'm the Bantu people,
I'm black.
If I'm
my mother came from Mississippi. My father
but this is what I'm saying. When your moms was coming from Mississippi and pops coming from there, they wouldn't define themselves as being black. They would say I'm Negro at that point. At that point, right?
Yes.
What would you define that in the 40s? In the 40s, right? You were black in the 40s? Is that what they called you guys?
No,
they called color.
They said color. And I used to say color.
What they
And I used to get mad at me.
You know what I'm saying? What was before that? The color.
Before that was nigga.
Niggas. Run!
Yeah.
You're right.
I used to ask him, I said, color what? a coloring book.
Yeah, they trying to get us off centered of who we are. And I think that's still going on.
Yeah, it is still
Yes.
going on because
Even if we say we African, when you talk to Africans from the continent, they don't take on the whole continent.
No.
They tell you, I'm Yoruba, I'm this, I'm that. They don't say the whole
That's right.
continent.
Right.
And that's just the learning. That's just the education. I agree that we have to educate we have to get on one accord, and we can only do that through education.
Yes.
But not from someone else controlling the books and the words that we're going to use
That's
to
true.
define ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
well, then we just gotta start writing books about our own education.
See, it
That's
took
the
only
only.
15 minutes. We got a
We
solution.
can start
I mean, we
by
have
teaching our young
Yes.
at home
Because they don't want
and
to
then
read.
sending them to historically black colleges
Yeah.
where they teach you who you are.
Pan-African schools.
Rather than to Yale and to Princeton, who teaches you that you are not who you are,
Exactly.
you're part of us.
Right.
So,
The wisdom in this room right now, I think we have over like 500 years of wisdom like in this room right now. It's amazing.
Me too.
And like I said, the elementary schools I went to, when I went to Philadelphia, and I was like, wow, what are they teaching? They're not teaching you anything.
Mhm.
And I honestly did not take it seriously because I didn't think that they were teaching anything that made sense to me.
Well, I know.
Columbus didn't discover America. The Indians were already here.
Ah,
That's
Like,
right.
for instance, I know when
who
I
are
was.
the Indians?
That's
The
right.
Indians-
They were Africans, weren't they?
Yes.
From the so we've been here. We
Yes.
But they like he discovered. What did he discover?
who?
How you gonna-
Columbus?
Yeah. How you gonna discover?
I mean, his
something
own
people
name.
already did?
That's
Well,
about
you know,
it.
I have to say, it's really, really, I'm not trying to make excuses for myself, but at 73, my mother was, born of sharecroppers. So she came from a generation of people who were so beaten down
Yeah.
Yeah.
that she didn't believe her own worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
So I
understand
was
that.
raised,
Because I'm 77, I understand that.
and I was
I'm
raised,
83 and I understand.
And I'm 82.
and still
84.
struggle with
I'm 33.
who I am.
Yeah.
Because my self-esteem at 73, I'm just beginning.
I'm the
I got
baby.
just
No, you the
beginning.
baby. I'm the second baby
No.
in the room.
We're learning. We're learning because it's going to be us that have to carry the torch.
And I started out knowing, and then I got lost for a while when I moved to the Philadelphia school system.
Right.
Then as an adult, I started coming back to it because I started reading more and getting it for myself and associating more with like Malcolm and things. I think if I had not had a child, I would have been caught up in the revolution. I would have been with Angela Davis.
But
I had a kid, so I couldn't embrace it like I wanted to. Because I had a baby.
Join the conversation, please. Comment down below, like this video.
I made them read Malcolm X. And,
Yeah, I had
and
my
got
son
them
read it
involved in, and I think that was the beginning of me kind of feeling out who I was,
Yeah.
because my mother died in 2010. But I was raised in the opposite, because remember I told you I was, I was all through school, there was only 2 black kids in my class.
Wow.
From kindergarten all the way up until high school. Okay, and then when I went to college, and then when I went to graduate school, and I was at NYU, again, I was a minority. So I'm just saying that the generations of oppression, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with Joy Brown's book about post-traumatic stress, post-traumatic slave syndrome, it's real. It's very real. So the fight, it's good that we're sitting around doing this. I love it. I mean, it's like, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because I feel validated. And I'm still needing validation. I still have to seek validation. And, I was blessed to be able to raise, 2 sons through all of this stuff.
Can I ask you a question? We spoke about education and the importance of educating our community so we can do better. Do you see that the religion has played a major part in the separation of us?
Yes, that's how they come.
Yeah,
That's how they did
exactly.
it.
That's what kept me.
That's how.
We worshiped a God who they said was
The God.
The
white.
Yeah.
So where we're at now in relationship to what they gave us over 500 years ago, now that we awaken, or we are awakening, right? We woke yet? I don't think we woke yet. We're waking up. We're waking up, right? But we seen what they did. We see the book that they slid us, right? And we see the results that it didn't have, that they said it would have. We will be saved. We will have all these things, right? But where are we at now in terms of our religious beliefs and how we're going to use this to move us all along?
I think each of us has to search our hearts. And what is comfy, God gave us the ability to know what right from wrong. I don't care what somebody says.
Exactly.
If you get that little tingling, that's God telling you that that's wrong.
Yeah.
So we can begin by listening to ourselves, listening to the God within us, the spirituality within us that's already there. We just have to practice it.
Right.
And you can begin by reading your Bible. If you believe in the Bible, read it and interpret it how you see it, not how somebody told you.
Exactly.
Another thing you must always remember, if you recall, the Bibles usually say out according to.
Yeah.
Now, according to can mean a lot of things.
That's right.
That could mean she wrote that and put it in the Bible.
Right.
And she heard that from.
People assume the word of God. They assume that the Bible is the
So
word.
you have to start really searching within because the answers are there.
Yes.
God put them there.
Within this vessel.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the thing that my great aunt who raised me, she was from that era of the when they were and she was from that era of, because she told me about how she used to pick tobacco, and they used to hide sometimes when the school buses go by because they didn't want the other kids to see them picking cotton or tobacco. I think it was Wheeling, West Virginia, somewhere down in there, way back in the 30s and 40s.
Everywhere.
And she said, she had that kind of attitude, but she did say one thing. She said, you don't have to be in a building to have God. God is in your heart. God is in you. This woman never went to church, but she was the most Christian, spiritual person I ever met in my life. Because she treated people like how Diane does. That's how my great aunt was. She would feed people. They would come over. Miss May, what you got? What you got? Oh, come on in here, child. Wash your hands and we get something to eat. Or they come to her and talk when they had problems. They would send me out the room because kids, they didn't supposed to hear nothing. Back then. But I know that they were coming to discuss their problems, and when they would leave prayerfully. And everybody always came to her, and she always said, God is in churches in you. It don't have to be in a building, and it doesn't have to have a name religion. And whatever you feel to believe, and you treat people with the milk of human kindness and do the right thing.
That's what
You'll know it's right. If God is in there, it will be right. If the devil enters in there, it's not right.
Right.
And that's how I treat people.
That's what's wrong with society now.
What's wrong with society?
Society is like, it's not godly. It's too much.
Oh yeah.
It's too much. People believe too much what's going on TV. They too much into. Well, I want to make a make. It's like that's what I'm talking about. What you just said. That's right. The way you treat
That's how
somebody
it
is
is.
the way they're
That's how
supposed
it
to.
is.
But now they treat kindness as a weakness.
Yeah.
Like, let's
Yeah,
say
it's
I
a
have
Everybody
something,
however they
and
want,
if
but
I
I'm
if I
saying
have
who I am.
something,
I'm not
right,
changing for nobody.
and I might know that you want some, I'll offer you something, right? You'll say no. But let's say if I walk away for a little while and come back, you'd rather take it from me than for me to give it to you. I don't know if it's
That's weird.
I've seen that too.
yeah. I don't know if it's
I think that's a
them being
mean
embarrassing.
selfishness
Yeah,
in people.
them being embarrassed to let you know that yes, I wanted some, but
And then
I
some
didn't
people
want
just
you to
have
know
take.
I wanted some, or I just feel better just taking it from
Yeah.
you. And this is the attitude that some
this
people
thing about
have.
They have to take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I
They
have
take, they
had
have to
people,
gain.
I go buy something, and
That's
I
weird.
might ask somebody to, watch it for me. And the next thing I know, I might get almost home and it's open. Or something like, that's what I mean is that the society, it has become mean spirited.
Yeah, they are.
And it's
Exactly what they are.
where's the God? If I'm being godly to you, or as I say, to me, God is nice. God is going to make sure that you have whatever you
That's what we got to define. God is all things.
Yeah.
It's the fierceness, it's the lightning, it's the smoke, it's the beauty of
God
the
is
sky.
love. God is
And hate.
kindness.
Not hate.
God,
God is all things.
yes, all things.
Don't take out the hate.
No,
To make it only seem like golly, it's this. It's not like that.
But no,
It's
but
that
the hate
ebb and
is at
flow.
the bottom.
It is.
When God starts to hate you, you did something terribly, terribly wrong. And that's when you're supposed to ask for forgiveness.
Well, I think that's another.
I think right, because I think you can
That's
do some
what
things
it is.
and you yield the result,
Right.
right? And if you did some negative stuff, you negative result. You did some positive stuff, positive result. But that's God all across the spectrum.
That's the devil there.
Okay.
That's the devil
May I
there.
just ask one question? I'm listening to these conversations and I'm saying, I must have had a different experience. I come from a family of 10, and we were told to respect each other and other people, and there's nobody better than you. And I always felt that if you didn't like me, that's your problem. And I think a lot of Black people feel inferior, and they act that way. I have never acted that way. I mean, I went to Columbia University, I have 3 degrees from that school, and I was hit with all kinds of racism, which I totally ignored. But I never let these people bring me down. As a matter of fact, I was in a class with the mathematical statistics class with 2 Jewish girls that I helped through the whole semester. And they would look at my papers, and I like math and I like to deal with numbers. And I helped them through the whole course. And we had a teacher from Israel who was just there for the summer. And when I got I got nothing less than a 97 on any exam. My homeworks were right because I had a lot of friends in school, white friends, that taught me a lot of things, and I learned from them. So I knew what I was doing was correct. I got my grade, I got a C for the class. Susan and Rachel got an A. Now, what happened is I took this class in the summer so that when I went back to the business school, that I could concentrate on other things, and I was going to use this grade to take another course. So I went over to the office to make sure of my grade. I knew I got an A. And I looked at the sheet. The sheet has your name, your social security number, and the grade. So when they post it, you just see the social security number and the grade. But I saw the whole sheet. I called this guy, Professor Short, Friday. It was Friday afternoon. I called him. I rang his phone like practically every hour on the hour. He never picked up. I called him Saturday. And my friend said, look, let it go, just try to get to his office. I knew he was leaving in 2 weeks to go back to Israel. So I finally got him before I went to church on Sunday morning. And he picks up the phone. And I said, Professor Shield, this is Eleanor Evans. I'm in your mathematics assistant. She says, Miss Evans, I know who you are. There were 2 Black people in the class, a guy from Africa and me. And so I said, then maybe you can tell me why I got an a C, and Susan and Rachel got an A. He said, how do you know that? I said, because I saw the sheet, because I needed to see it. I saw the whole page. And so he said, well, I don't want to discuss this with you in my home on Sunday morning. I said, well, I'll meet you any place, anytime. So he said, well, what about Monday afternoon? I said, fine. So I go over to, well, let me back up. One day he was doing a proof on the board and he made a mistake. He multiplied 1 times 1 and got 2.
No.
So everything was exponentially higher. And so he had his back to me and I'm saying, Professor Shildon, he's going back, just a minute. He's trying to figure out why the thing wasn't working. So I said, 1 and 1 is not 2 on the first board. And he went, oh, and he had to erase it and start all over again. So his thing was, okay, you did well on the midterm, you did well on the final, and you did well on the homeworks. But a third of your grade was class participation. And he said, you never participated. I said, well, I don't talk. I come to get information from you. I already understand this. And I showed him the book and I said, there's several things in the book that are wrong because I always did all the problems because I just like to do numbers things. So he said to me, oh, well, you didn't say much in the class. So I was so pissed off. And because I was brought up during the age of Malcolm X and Adam Powell, I will speak to Powell. I got all in his face. He was sitting at his desk, and I said, "You doing research on violence in America?" I said, "You haven't seen violence yet." I snapped my fingers and I walked out. Well, next thing I know, I got a call from the school saying I had threatened one of their professors, and I was called before the committee on students. And when I got finished with them and told them my story, the people were silent. They didn't know what to do. And I said, before I take this any further, and they didn't want to be sued or whatever. So they looked at me like, oh my God, this girl is right. I said, and they called Susan and Rebecca, and they said, Eleanor got a C. She helped us the whole semester. And they just didn't know what to say. So I said, that's one example. I could give you a whole lot. Others
Me too. I think we all got examples.
I never was trying to get over. I always knew what I knew, and don't get in my face and tell me I don't know something. But they couldn't stand to see this Black woman in front of them
fighting for her education.
Right.
And I think that's what we got to be. A lot of us are inferior.
B+.
We don't feel like we should be there.
But I said, right. I said my average can handle a B+.
Like Miss Ella, like at this present time, I'm in college right now, and I had something similar to you happen. Really, a lot happened to me last semester that I'm surprised that I'm going back to school. And one of the things that happened, I'm just going to tell you something that happened the semester before. I had wrote my English paper for my class. Now, I almost had an 80 in my English class, my English 101. When I went to check on the phone to see my grade, my teacher failed me. Failed me. It went from almost an 80 to a 60-something. That's failure. So I knew I had sent my paper through, I emailed it to her because I wasn't sure whether she wanted email or she wanted actual paper. So I emailed it to her. Day before Christmas, I text my teacher, I emailed my teacher, and I asked her, why did you fail me? I emailed you, I sent you, how would they do it? I sent you my paper.
Yes.
So she said she never received it. Please send it to me again. She sent it to me. I sent it to her. She said I had improved so much in my writing and everything, and that she said that I just improved so much, and I was grateful. And she gave me a C. I really wanted to B, but it had so much had happened all while I've been going through college. I was happy getting C's because I had failed some classes and I had to take them over. But last semester, everything blew up in my face. I'm thinking everything was in order, and it wasn't. I owed money. I failed the class, but I passed through classes. So I'm bouncing off a wall.
Right.
They didn't think I was coming back. I got that money, I paid that bill, I went to all the right people, and I said, this semester I'm coming back, I'm not gonna have these same problems.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna learn what I have to learn about the computer. I'm gonna learn how to do my work. They want me to get a certain grade, I'm gonna get that grade. Because I'm at the point now that education is important, but don't play with me when it comes down to my education.
That's right.
Because when first time I was in college, I didn't know the value of the education. My value was, and my mom was dying at the time, my mother said I could do whatever I wanted. So whether I wanted to go to college or whether I wanted to do work, long as I do what I wanted to do and didn't go to jail, I would be fine.
That's right.
And I believe that to this day.
That's right, and you're absolutely right.
No, but
Going
I'm just
back to
thinking
this
that
point,
you
I just
need
want
to
to
think good of yourself.
absolutely, and you have to fight for your education. You have to fight for anything you want in this life. And we know as melanated people, we have to go the extra mile.
You don't
Yeah.
We have to wake up early and we
Right.
gotta go harder,
Look,
right?
just look at
But I want to say this to
Obama.
come back to your point. We don't have to feel inferior.
we don't.
We
because
need to be at the party.
Yes.
Like when we're not at the party, they like the party is whack,
Yes,
it's no
yes,
flavor, and something
I
is
had
missing.
somebody told
So
me that.
when we're in the building, we should feel like we need to be here. It's a necessity to be at the table to say our opinion and to put an infrastructure so we can get a piece of the resources so we can bring it back to our people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And I'll tell
So I feel like we're right in the
anybody
right place, and I'm glad we was able to have this space to have the conversation because this is gonna
And I'm
move
let you know
mountains.
now, they want us to come back to school.
But you know, all the people.
Yeah, what they want. We want to come back to
No,
school.
no,
Put
I
it
wanna
on
come back
us.
to school.
Put it
But I
right on
wanna-
us. Put it on us.
Okay.
We need to go back to school, and we want to come back
Thank
to
you.
school. Forget anybody else. We got to stop giving them the credit as if
Yes.
they're doing something for us. We gave them the skill to teach, to understand what they have to teach back to us primarily.
Yes.
They didn't wash themselves. We
Yes.
taught them how to wash. We
Yes.
taught them math. We taught them physics.
Yes.
We taught them that. This is not their knowledge. So they can't want us to come back and gain our knowledge. Because if we gain our knowledge, guess what? They get moved to the side. They don't want that.
Well, then, you
That's
know,
right.
They want to teach us
That's right.
false information. They don't want to teach you real right information. That's why this class that we have here, people get more out of it because I really want you to get it. I really don't want you to come back and ask me no questions. I want you to fully understand it so you can go on and teach others. They don't want you to do that. They want you to actually consume this information so you can go work on the line with the rest of their people. That's the difference.
Yeah.
but G, I'm about to let you know something.
Let's get it.
I'm about to give them holy such and such up in my college because
Give
they're
them that
too
business.
through with me. They too through because they really thought I wasn't
But are
gonna
you
go.
through? If you
No,
ain't
no,
through,
I'm not
keep
through.
going. You dig what I'm saying?
not through.
Nah.
I'm just last semester they made me go through so much.
That's
I was
right.
so
And you're gonna be
angry.
valedictorian at the end, and they're gonna be asking you questions. That's
They were
it.
so angry. It's like when I
That'll
walked
be
in
the day.
this semester and I told them, oh
I gotta
yeah,
do
I'm coming back. My bills is paid. Your bill is paid. Yeah, I got proof. Cause my thing is always proof. Oh, we
You
can
know,
see it in the computer. No, I want to
this is a
see it
safe
on
space
paper.
for what they used to call
Yes.
think tanks,
Yes.
and we just here brainstorming
Yes.
and bridging the gap from the youth to the elders
But I
community,
have to say-
so we can move
I have to say
mountains.
one thing, everybody
Peace,
that
honor,
helped
and
me,
accountability.
See, I never had conversations.
everybody
like
that
this.
helped me was white.
I was always
Yeah,
told.
I've had some of both, but-